everybody. Yeah, I'm underneath Hubert, and as I promised you and promised Emily, try to get some work on Hubert done this winter. And as I'm sitting underneath here, got a dilemma to talk about. First, Emily's supposed to be helping, but she's doing something else that's, I guess, important that the younger kids do, and that's something called Overwatch. I don't know what they're watching, but I'll leave a link in case you guys are kind of interested and see how her tournaments and stuff go with the Overwatch. But yeah, I decided to fix this wheel well area, you know, work on the nose here of Hubert, trying to make him look a little prettier, and it was easier to work on it by removing the beam. And I'll show you guys the beam here. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, the beam is missing. And you know, I've pulled a lot of screws and bolts out of this car, and I haven't broke one up until now. And as you can see, I busted 3 out of the 4, or excuse me, I busted 2 out of the 3 bolts that I removed, and somebody previously had this beam out and they broke one, and they just left it. I guess they figured 3 was better than 4. And there was actually enough on here that I could grab it with the vice grips, you know, and I doused everything with the good old PB blaster, and I could not get that sucker to move. I mean, I even went through and welded about 6 or 7 of these nuts on there trying to remove it. And I don't know, I guess my welder wasn't strong enough to penetrate these nice hardened bolts, because they are hard. And I'll tell you that 2 of these 3 I've already drilled out and retapped the holes. So what I'm doing today is number 4, because, you know, I think 4 is going to be better than 3. But yeah, I'm going to show you the beam, because the beam is very interesting. It's a kind of an old school lowering thing. I've never seen it. Must have been before they came out with the Weldon lowering adjusters. So let me scoot out from underneath the car and grab a light so I can show this to you. Here we are, as promised, the beam, Hubert's front beam. My plan, you know, in the near future is actually to narrow and weld in some lowering and raising adjusters. I usually set them neutral, so I can either raise the car or lower the car, and we'll go with 2.5-inch drop spindles. But this has got this great big old hunkin' thing up front here. I've never seen anything like it. But what they've got, let me pull this out a little bit so we can see it better. But what they've done is they welded this piece down the bottom and left this permanent, where I would put an adjuster on each one. But so the bottom one is an adjuster. That's just the leverage. And then on top here, they did the same type of buckle thing, but they actually cut the beam here and here, and then they weld these, I don't know, guide plates, I guess you'd call it. And this is actually left open. So when you got the spring locked down, there's a torsion spring that runs through here. And then you crank on this, you actually, you know, rotate this a little bit, which is going to either raise or lower the car. Kind of a neat idea. And I actually pulled, there was some type of a sealing tape on here, because I wanted to kind of see what we had going on here. So unfortunately for Hubert, I'm not going to use this beam. I mean, I could go and, you know, weld it back up, cut it and weld it again, but, or, you know, take my 1.5 inch off each side. But then I got to put the cut and weld the adjuster in the center. That just seems like too much work for me. So we may either find a donor beam. It'd be kind of nice to find one, you know, from drum to drum, or A-arm to A-arms. And that way we've got, you know, extra pieces and parts. You know, because this stuff is getting harder to find. And of course there's a big monster steering box. As far as I know, that's still good. And yeah, I got all these screws off without breaking them. I got these off without breaking them. But underneath the car, yeah, you know, big monster screws. Yeah, so apparently I don't know my own strength. Because this is a 12 millimeter. If you're wondering what the pitch or what the thread is, it's a 12 millimeter thread with 1.5 or 1.5 pitch thread on it. And that's a big bolt. Either I don't know my own strength and I'm really strong, or these things are over 50 years old and sat outside for 20 years getting rusty. Probably the latter. So yeah, I'm gonna get busy. First I'm gonna show you kind of what I'm doing here. Then I'm gonna get busy working. You guys don't wanna see me run a drill for 3 hours. And then I'll show you the end product. So what I've been doing is I start with the prick punch. No, I'm not calling you a prick. It's actually what it's called. And big 3-pound hammer. And what I try to do, we'll just pretend this is in the car, to try to hit it as dead center as possible in here and tap it quite a few times so you can start your small drill bit. And the trick with this is finding a drill bit that's small, but yet not too small that it's going to break when you're halfway through, because trust me, that's not any fun. So it looks like I started out with 7/64, and then just kind of stepped up. You know, you drill your first hole, you know, go a little bit bigger, then a little bit bigger. And the last time I did that on the first one, you actually used all these drill bits, but the last time it just didn't seem like it was cutting well. Either it was the bit or the angle I had. So I just completely skipped that over and just went right to the finishing size. And this is the size of drill bit you would drill a hole with. I think it's a Z for the tap. So then I tap. So you can see I've got a easy out, or what do they call those things? Oh, a screw retractor. I like the square ones, but I never really seem to have much luck. I mean, I did try it a couple of times, and I'm worried about breaking that off. I've done that before. I've got one that's broke off, and then, you know, these things are hard, and it just makes it harder to drill through them. Like I said, I tried a PB blaster, I tried the welding nut, but yeah, I always resort to step drilling it and then retapping it. All right, time to start drilling. I'll have to point out that I got one of these Bauer 90-degree drills from Harbor Freight, and I'm amazed at how long this 12-volt battery. It's a 3-ampere, I guess. I call it 3 OAM. I think that's what it says on there. I can't read it. Don't have my smarticles, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed on how long that the battery lasts in this thing, and it seems to be doing the job pretty good. But the reason I took the beam off is, well, one, it needs to come off because I want to kind of knock all the rust off this and try some Rust-Oleum rust preventer on it, you know, kind of make it look new again. And then it was also easier to remove this package tray from the back side, you know, trying to separate the two pieces of steel other than trying to get it from the front. It just gave me more room to work because that homemade lowering kit on there got in the way. So yeah, time for the long drill session. Oh yeah, and don't forget to get yourself a pillow. Otherwise you're gonna have neck pain all day. Here we go, about, oh, see what time it is. Oh, yeah, like 5 hours later. Actually, it didn't take that long. If you remember me bragging about how long a battery lasts, well, I had to charge it just before I broke through. So yeah, about an hour drilling, a battery dies just before I broke through, and I decided to go and get something to eat, charge up the battery, came back out and just finished up. And I'll have to admit that these things do charge rather quickly too. So on to the next drill bit. All right, I got this finally all drilled out. The first hole, the very first hole is always a bugger. And I wound up running all the other drill bits through it. And about the time it takes to drill the first hole, you know, the other 3 drill bits go in about the same amount of time. And then run the tap through. And the point, or not the point, the advice is to basically go slow. You know, don't try to rush it. You go too fast with the drill bits, you wind up basically burning them up. If you see smoke, you're going too fast. And I'll have to admit that the good old Bauer drill worked like a dream. And like I said, I can't believe how long that battery lasts. And I had to recharge it, of course, like I said, and then I drilled the other 3 drill bits on the same charge, and I still got a dot left, which I'll probably top it back off. I guess, you know, I bought this as a test, and since it seems to be a really good tool, I'll probably buy a couple more tools. I'd like to get an impact, something I can carry in the car for, I don't know, if I ever do a drag week or some type of drag and drive that I can use. And, you know, a couple extra batteries, of course. We'll get this tap out of here, and we'll run a screw in it. Then yeah, then what I'll do before, I gotta get this body work done, but what I'm gonna wind up doing is probably cleaning, degreasing, knocking all the rust off of all this down, this area down here and up here, and spray it with some type of a rust encapsulator slash protector. The other thing I did was ran this tap in here. And I ran a tap, you know, I oiled it with the old trusty oil can here. Ran it in, you know, a little bit, backed it back out, cleaned it off, oiled it back up, and, you know, did it again a little further. I think I did it about 3 times before I finally made it all the way through. But yeah, let's see if it'll hold a screw now. I didn't get this hole exactly as center as I would like to have. Hopefully it's good enough. The main thing is to make sure it's going to hold. Last thing you want, your front end coming off. There, all the way in. Looks like it might be a little crooked too. Nah, not too bad. Yeah, looks like got a little bit of cleanup to do underneath there, but yeah, I think 4 bolts instead of 3 bolts holding the beam on is going to be way more beneficial. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. So keep cruising, keep shifting those gears, and always enjoy the ride. We'll see you later.
I was just another guy